And welcome to another edition of Quoth the Raven, Louis Brett Raven. I am your host, Louis Brett Raven, 28-year professional in comics, science fiction, fantasy, and horror, role-playing game industry as a writer, artist, and editor. This week, my guest is writer and publisher Jason McNamara. And hello,
Hey.
how you doing, Jason?
Good, Liz. How you doing?
Doing well. Jason's company is called Polite Strangers, LLC. He has also worked with Image and Planet Lar, AIT Planet Lar, Larry Young's publishing company. Who else have you worked with offhand? I don't.
Girl Twirl. You probably know by that name.
Yeah, I
Paige
remember.
Braddock's company.
Yeah, Paige Braddock. Yes. I actually we are going to talk about that company too. I couldn't remember their name. Okay, let's see. We got. Should we go straight to the Q&A, or should we just go?
You can pepper them in as they come in if you want.
Okay, let's go ahead and.
I'm not shy.
Alrighty, but before we do that, we have to do our normal silly notice, and that is, in accordance with YouTube's proper regulations, this episode of Quoth the Raven is intended for ages 16 and up. While some of the content we will feature is sometimes kid-friendly, the context of the episode is to address and educate older teens and adults to inform them of said content for them to research as consumers in the service of their youth. In other words, parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, teachers, librarians, etc. And there is always the possibility of adult language present on the episode. We are rated TV 16 and up.
So let me ask you, can this be shown within 60 yards of a school?
Depends on the school.
I've never seen a disclaimer like that before.
The reason I do that is because comics are for kids attitude, and the new copy regulations on YouTube, if anything's supposedly for kids but has stuff that they don't think is appropriate, they can block your channel now. This started at the beginning of the year. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, so I always put that on there just so that people know it's not meant for kids. So
Donald Duck doesn't wear pants, guys.
Yeah. So let's see. What are our questions from the fans this week? We're so glad you asked. Let's see. Our first question is from TJ in Illinois. Have you seen the commentaries by various comics publishers, such as Image Comics' Eric Stevenson, Boom Comics' Ross Ritchie, and IDW Publishing's Chris Royale, about how the industry needs to cut back on the number of titles they release? What is your take on this?
Well, they're not publishing my books, so they've cut back too far.
Yeah, there you go. There's one right.
Well, there are so many choices. It's hard to make a decision. And if you're a retailer, I don't know how you make it work with that much content coming out. So I think, as long as it's good content. Here's the thing, though. It's hard to get a response from any of those publishers. It's hard enough. There's so many gatekeepers enough that my opinion is always do it yourself. And if you do a good book, someone will find it and publish it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there's that. Some of the slant that I saw off of some of their comments made was more that, well, we've cut ours back by 30% or 18% or however many. When is Marvel and DC going to do it? Because it's really Marvel and DC who need to cut back.
They will never cut back.
Yeah, and it's like, okay.
Batman doesn't come out every week because they have a great Batman story to tell. Batman comes out every week so you don't try my book.
That's part of it.
Every great drug dealer keeps a supply going.
Yeah, but even so, if you go back to 1992, how many Batman books were there? 7. How many Batman books are there now? 7. So they're really not putting out more content. It's just, it seems like it, perhaps, I guess, but I think more what it is the way things are marketed now compared to what they were 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The internet is constantly got Marvel and DC stuff up in your face in all the comics media, whereas all the others really don't get all that much coverage.
I mean, they would if they got clicks.
Yeah,
the Walking Dead gets clicks.
Yeah, that's it.
You got to create something that's as popular.
Yep, and that's hard to do, but that's it.
The
other thing is I find funny about it is okay, yes, there's too many Batman books, too many X-Men books, too many Spider-Man books, and Star Wars books, so on, but they're all publishing the same creators at all the same publishers at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. If there's too many books featuring the same writer or same artist as there are the same characters, you're going to have the same effect. People are going to either get tired of the writer or the artist, or they're going to say, well, I can't afford all these books by the same people. And it's either pick and choose, or they get so frustrated that they just don't support that creator anymore. Eventually. At least that's been my experience as a reader. I get tired of it. I'd rather see somebody new that I don't know and be fresh after a while, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean fire these people and don't give them any work. But when you have Cullen Bunn putting out 20 books a month, that's a bit excessive.
Just to put out 20 books a month?
Yep.
Good for Cullen Bunn.
20 bucks or 20 different titles between 8 different publishers at the same time a month.
Cullen, if you need a ghostwriter, I'm available.
Oh, don't go there. He just got accused of using ghostwriters, and oh my God, the internet exploded all over.
He would never. My friend Cullen would never use a ghostwriter.
Yeah. So that was a funny thing a couple weeks ago about that. But that's the kind of thing. It's not just Cullen though. I mean, the average comics writer right now that's Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, being published, is averaging 5 to 6 books a month now.
Okay. But what were they doing a couple of years ago? I bet you they were starving. If you have all these lean years where you're doing books and no one cares and you can't get noticed, and then you have the opportunity to write 5 or 6 books, I'm willing to bet you a lot of those books have been in the can or been in a hard drive for years.
Sure. That's a good probability.
Okay.
Of course, your Bendis, no, he's been fine for 20 years.
Both for 20 years,
yeah. But there's it's hit and miss, like you say, though. I mean, there's always lean years and there's good years in any creative industry as far as that goes.
But when you're hot, you got to take advantage of it. I don't begrudge those guys at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't afford to buy the books, but I don't begrudge them.
Yeah.
You've got the material and people want the demand. Like, that is a really enviable place to be as a creator.
Well, that's the thing. Is the demand really there? When you look at the sales of the books, they're not as high as you might think.
How many books really sell well at all?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, what's the metric of success? 5,000, 8,000? I'll take that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not every book's going to sell 20,000, but if company A sees that, this writer is pulling in these people over here, maybe they could replicate that over here. I have lost gigs because I didn't have a high enough Twitter following. So popularity does something. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't even have a Twitter account.
I barely dust it off. I use it as just a syndication platform. If I have something new, I put it out, but I don't engage. It's just not how I interact online.
Very interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that's pretty much our take on that. Let's go on to the next question. Let's see. This is actually directly towards me, and that's from a friend of mine, Santos Rodriguez.
Can I read this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
You've been promoting a lot of other people's projects in the program instead of your own. Is there a reason why you don't promote your own work more? I want to see more of Spacey, more of the other SF sci-fi story. Have you shown work for the Space Thieves? And whatever happened to the Charger, the Ram, Santos, Round Lake, Illinois?
Yeah.
Oh, I pronounced all those things right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you did.
Well, right? Why aren't you promoting yourself? What's going on? You shy? What's the problem?
A lot of it is just books aren't done, and I don't promote when books aren't ready.
Me both, brother.
Yeah, that's one thing. The other is I have talked about Charger the Ram. Charger the Ram was a comic strip I did back when both of us were in high school, in the 80s. And it got canceled because what it was originally was supposed to be for the high school. Our mascot was the Ram. We didn't know that the Ram had a name. So I wrote a strip about the Ram trying out for the football team, but he couldn't join because he didn't have a name to register as a student. And so another student who was a junior, and I was a freshman at that time, did some research, and the Ram did have a name for the mascot. It was Willie the Ram, and so they did his strip instead of mine, which ticked off half the school because like, Willie the Ram, come on, and his idea was better. So I ended up doing the strip a little bit on my own for a few months there my freshman year. And then I plan on eventually redoing it as a completely different thing where
he goes to the high school reunion.
No.
Kills everybody.
No.
Right,
it's a student who wears the Ram mascot costume, and he gets beat up after a game by some hooligans.
And then he kills everybody.
No, not quite. But he does get magically transformed into a humanoid ram. So,
and then he bruises people?
We'll see where he goes with it. But yeah, that's I'm going to do that later. But
I think you need to hire Colin Bunn to help you ghostwrite this one.
Oh no! I know what I want to do with it. But yeah, the main thing I've had problems with is I ran into depression after my parents got sick, and I was full-time caregiver for 2 disabled parents for a long time. And you know, yeah, when you have to deal with that, and you know, just the financial burden of that and the emotional burden of that, I didn't have it in me to work.
Yeah, believe it, man.
For a long time. And you know, my mother passed away in 2011, and then I just I still have my father. He's healthier than he was, but he's up there in years, and he's got a pacemaker and other problems. So, you know, it could be any time he goes, but at any time, it's just, getting myself back into the groove. And that was part of what doing the podcast was for too, was trying to get myself into that frame of mind so I could return.
We're talking about your passions. This is your passion.
Yeah. Well,
it's our passions.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had the passion for it that I had before all this stuff hit me, when I was producing a lot of books. I'm trying to find that person again in a way. But yeah.
Grieving changes us.
Yep.
It does. The mortality sinks in. So I lost my mom about 2 years ago. Then this past year, I lost my brother, and it has had a fundamental change on how you look at things. But anyway, what are the questions you got?
Yep. Hold on a second. This guy get to the thing there.
All right.
No, you go read it.
Are we going to see you draw a one-man jam piece on the show, or see you draw it all on the regular show? Because the drawing videos, you don't talk much, and in the podcast, you don't draw. Anonymous. That was such a hot topic, they couldn't put their name.
Well, I give people the option of if they want their name listed or not.
People know you're a hothead. You're going to lose your mind. You're going to throw the furniture over. Who would dare ask me that question?
Yeah. The main reason I don't draw on the regular podcast is the camera just doesn't work very well if I'm going to be looking at the camera and trying to draw over there where the drawing light table stuff is not that thing. As soon as I get a regular camera set up over there that I can do that, I'll probably do a little bit of both on that. As far as the one-man jam, that's coming later not this month, but early next month. So
coming in hot, Anonymous.
Yeah. Let's see what else we've got.
How much money do you spend on comics each month?
Another
Anonymous again.
Yes, Anonymous is very popular. How much money do you spend on comics a month?
How much does comics cost me a month?
Sure.
It's cost me everything.
Well, how much do you buy to read? I think is what he means.
So I'm like a binger. I'll go like a couple months, not buy anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go to a store and I'll drop like $150.
Okay.
And I'll pack up on a bunch of stuff and trades and issues. And even over here, at a certain point, I got behind on Astro City.
Mm-hmm.
I've got like a full run of Astros, like this high, a stack of Astro Cities, like the floppies. And I'm just waiting to like get the flu or something. And then I'll sit down and I'll read them all in bed with like a hot toddy.
Yeah.
So, you know, I love comic books, but comic books are expensive and I'm just not always in the budget.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also petty and small inside. So if I buy a book and I think, hey, this book isn't that good, why is this guy getting work? I'm better than he is. Don't I have value? Why am I alive? And it just spirals out. So gotta be real careful. I love comic books, but I like to buy them from the creators at shows, and I like to support my buddies and get it signed and have that experience. So I mean, a lot of these trades I haven't even read yet. Every time I see Jim Zub, I think he's great. I buy a bunch of his work. Mm-hmm. So, you know.
Did you hear that Jim just quit his day job to go full-time comics?
I'm surprised. But good for him. He had a sweet well, I don't want to talk about his circumstances.
Well, let me put it this way: he didn't quit his job. He took a year off of the animation job that he's been doing, and then when he comes back, he won't take the same position that he had.
Well, it's a better position than I'm in. Good for him. He deserves it. That guy's worked real hard.
Yeah, he's a hard worker. I'm not going to say otherwise there.
All my petty jealousy, it's not directed at him. Jim, if you need a ghostwriter, Jim.
Yeah. So, you know, but I spend quite a bit actually, and I spend kind of surprises people. I usually spend between 35 and 50 a week. Yep.
Do you want to talk to somebody about this?
No, it's all independent stuff.
Oh, okay. So it's a podcast, so you can do a write-off, so you don't have to pay taxes on that?
Exactly. That's part of it.
I love it. I'm part of your shell game.
But like, for example,
IRS.
Yeah.
This is legit.
But like for the last 2 weeks, I got a Zatanna, House of Secrets graphic novel, Snapdragon graphic novel, Alienated #1 from Boom. That's by Cy Spurrier. Tartarus #1 from Image by Johnny Christmas and Jack Cole. I think that's who it is. Yeah, Jack Cole. Canopus #1 from Scout Comics. And The Plunge #1 by, it's a Joe Hill comic from DC. And those won't get reviewed this week. They'll be reviewed next week. Right. But that's what I've gotten the last couple of weeks is stuff like that. And a few other books, but that's part of it. But a lot of it, like you, I might not read for weeks or months on end. I'm still trying to get through Rick Remender's Black Science trades.
Right. I fell off on those. But, I'll sit down, I'll read Fear Agent from beginning to end. I'm saving that experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's kind of what I was doing with, I tried to do with Black Science. What happened is I would read the first trade and then the second trade, and I'd forget the story. So when I got the third trade, so I had to start over. I kept forgetting the storyline. I said, well, hell, I'm just going to wait until they're all out and sit down and read them all at once. But so that was that situation. But yeah, I usually spend about 40 to 50 a week on stuff. But I also I don't just like go in the shop and grab stuff. I pre-order everything. And then you got to figure it's not just the shop, it's anything that we buy off of crowdfunded books as well. So, but a lot of it, there was a time back when comics were affordable where I spent $400 to $500 a week.
Ooh.
And that was back when the books were $1.50.
Wow.
So okay. I was a huge, of course I was making money back then. I could afford it too. So that makes a difference too. So let's see. Next question. Letter Anonymous.
There have been a number of recent matters brought up about creators who are abusive, sexual harassers. 2 of them we thought were fired and out of the business are back running their own company, and now another guy has been publicly called out. What are your thoughts about this stuff? Anonymous.
Yep. Do you,
Hey, look,
do you know who you're talking about?
yeah, I know what they're talking about. Look, man, if you act like a fucking creep, it's 2020. People are going to find out about it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be a creep.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. It's going to haunt you in any industry. It's not just comics. Like, social media has equalized voices now. You can't shout people down anymore. So if you don't behave ethically in any industry, you're not going to be able to work. So I don't know that those two have come back. There's certainly, you know, they're free to try and sell that book to whoever wants to buy it and support it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, how, you know, at a certain point, you do conflate the person with the art, and you are giving money to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like someone's practices, then you don't have to give them money.
That's true.
But, you know, we all support companies, and companies may be doing things we don't like. So you have a decision where your dollar goes. I try and keep out of all that online, and I don't think there's anything in my. I try not to comment on those things. I try and keep my social media all positive and stuff like that. But personally, like, yeah, it's sad, you know. And these things have real effects on people's careers. And if you're like, so I'm a teacher, and I take mentoring really, really responsibly. And, you know, if you don't treat your mentees correctly, that changes their entire career. Like, your job as a mentor is to support and encourage them to be the best creative voice they can be. So it gets me real hot when people, specifically I was thinking of like Ryan Adams, like the musician. He had a bunch of stories, and I use that as a lesson in class about how to choose mentors. And mentors will make good decisions for you. But I also tell my students, like, if somebody wants to review your portfolio, they can do it. Who else is going to be there? You don't do it at the bar to help it. You don't go up to someone's hotel room to have your portfolio reviewed.
No.
Can you bring a friend? Who else is going to be there? Like, it sucks, but anytime there's a power imbalance, there are people that are going to abuse it. So it's good. People should talk about who you trust and who you can't talk, who you can't trust in any industry.
Yeah, well, it's not just those two. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people who have been reported to human resources at different companies, and you know, it's like, what does it take to get someone removed when they've done something that's just, you know, beyond the pale? I mean, a certain editor writer at Dark Horse bit another person and is still working for them. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, come on, you know, I it's not that I want to see anybody necessarily be kicked out, but there has to be consequences for your actions too. Sure. And at the same time, I don't want to be one of the pitchfork brigade.
Right, which is why I don't jump on bandwagons, and I generally keep my opinions to myself. But I do think people should share these stories.
Absolutely,
and you should vote with your dollar.
Absolutely, yeah. But you know, that's kind of how I look at it. You know, and you know, like another writer that just got exposed recently in the last couple of weeks. Some of my friends were like completely losing their minds out of it. I'm like, guys, he's had this reputation for 10 years.
Right.
Didn't you know? It was like, you know, this is not news. I mean, you know, it's great that people are coming forward again, but I've known about this guy's activities for a decade. Didn't you? You know, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I approve of those behaviors. It's just a situation of, I guess, you know, just because I know about it and I wouldn't work with the guy for that reason, you know, I'm not running these companies. I don't make those decisions. Right. You know, if someone hired me and I was in a position of authority to say yay or nay, no, they wouldn't be working for me. You know, that's all I can say. And I think you probably the same way with your company. You wouldn't hire those people for those reasons necessarily.
I feel like I know everyone pretty well that I work with. Okay, and that.
Well, if these people that we're talking about, we're not going to name any names specifically.
If someone said to me, this person that you're working with behaved in a way that is contrary to my personal values or my company values, and I actually have company values printed up. I don't have them all here, but I show it to my students. I try and teach every student to be their own company. And if you have like a shitty job at like a coffee shop or Dunkin' Donuts, in the break room, they'll have company values, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you as an independent freelancer should have your own set of values. And actually, this is on my website. I posted it probably in the last year of what my company's values are.
Okay.
So if I wouldn't collaborate with somebody whose behavior conflicted with my values, I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. And since you're upfront about it, there's no, well, he's being prejudicial.
I have a personal assistant or an assistant that's helping me with the company. And the first thing I did was show them the company values.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually they're going to be helping me with my social media, and everything we do has to support or work with this. It can't be in conflict with these values.
Exactly.
And their behavior as my employee has to support those values as well. And I don't think they're going to have any issue with that. Finn's great.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's why I chose to work with Finn.
Awesome. Okay, next question. Letter Anonymous.
Anonymous has been busy.
Yes. What would it take for you to become a regular Marvel and or DC Comics reader again? Is the question.
What would it take? Well, I am a regular Marvel reader. I do have the Marvel Unlimited app on my iPad, so it has all the releases like 6 months after they came out. I'm not. These things, superhero stories are. I like those characters, but they're expensive, and I don't. It's sort of if you could read these stories removed from the hype around them. So usually 6 months later, I've forgotten whatever spoiler was leaked, and I can read these stories fresh as they're intended to be, just pieces of artwork. But if you're online, everything is hyped to such a degree that it becomes it's not fun for me to read that. I'm a fan of the craft. I'm not a fan of the marketing.
Okay. Yeah.
I am a regular Marvel reader. Usually I read a book before I go to bed every night on my iPad. And right now I'm enjoying what did I read? The new Carnage Unleashed. That was Donny Cates. Thought that was good. Hickman's X-Men. It's fantastic. Really good. A couple issues deep in that. So those are some good sci-fi comics.
Okay. Hold on a second. I got a message from someone on Facebook. Okay. One of my regular viewers is at a rehearsal. That's why he's not said something to you in the chat.
What do we got in the chat?
Nobody in the chat right now. Usually he's on, but yeah, he'll be on shortly when he gets back from his rehearsal. In fact, he's the guy who set up the music that we came in on. But anyway,
Immortal Hulk. That's excellent.
Well, cool. Me, I'm pretty much anti-Marvel, but that's personal. I've talked about that at length in the past.
They made it personal with you.
Yes, they did. Well, like I can tell you about that later. I've talked about it enough on the podcast. I don't need to repeat it again. Yeah, I haven't really read Marvel since 2003 as far as buying and reading. I do occasionally borrow trades from a library, which of course is even more than 6 months, after stuff. But as far as me getting Marvel, the short answer to the question is if they put the right people that I actually want to see on the right characters, I'll come back.
Okay.
And it's just that simple and that difficult because they don't seem to want to do it at all. So, but I mean, and it's funny because, even the publishers get frustrated with a guy like me because they're like, we gave you the character you said you wanted. And we gave you, and like, you didn't give me the team I told you I wanted. You either gave me just the writer and put an artist I can't stand with that writer, which killed the book, or vice versa. You gave me the wrong writer with an artist I might have considered. So it's like, when I give you 10 different writers, that's the 10 writers I want. Pick one.
I'm just a bad listener.
Yeah. So it's like, I think there's a kind of an attitude a little bit with those in power, shall we say. I don't know if you've ever heard the common saying that the fans, if they knew what they wanted, they'd be running the company themselves and doing it themselves.
Okay.
type thing. And I'm here because I know better. I'm smarter, and I know what works. Is kind of what they're saying. And it's like, well, okay, that's why I'm not buying into your book since 2003 because you know what's best. Okay, but DC, I'm a little bit. Obviously, I just showed you the Zatanna book and the Plunge book. Those are both DCs. But no, I don't buy the regular monthlies. I'm just not that keen on the talent pool right now.
I think Tom King's a great writer. You don't think Tom King's good?
He's okay.
Yeah.
I know what I want. I guess is the best thing.
It's what you want.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like I really haven't. I mean, the last time I bought Batman, I bought 2 issues of Detective late last year or summertime last year. Mm-hmm. Because Kyle Holtz was on the book as the artist, and Kyle's a friend, and I wanted to support him. I've always wanted to see what his Batman would look like.
Right.
So I got those 2 issues, and that was okay. It was written by Peter Tomasi. It was Batman versus the Spectre, so to speak. What had actually happened was Jim Corrigan had gotten kidnapped by a cult, and we're going to kill him and try and take control of the Spectre by killing Corrigan, host's body. And it was a decent story. I enjoyed it for what it was. If they put a writer, one of my 10 with Kyle on Batman or Detective, I'd be there with bells on, but it is what it is. So
why won't they listen?
Yeah, well, who knows? I'm just one guy, right?
What is your favorite preferred format of comics? Floppy, trade, hardcover, size. Eric, not hiding behind anonymous. Good for you, Eric.
Yes. Well, you've done quite a few different varieties of size as a publisher.
I like publishing graphic novels. I like delivering that done-in-one experience that you could sit down and spend like an hour and a half reading. Mm-hmm. That is my preferred delivery method, and I like writing for that. But just the economics of making comics is sometimes you have to break that up. Mm-hmm. You have to do floppies or do like a 30-page. With Nocturnal Commissions now, we're doing a 30-page one-shot that could be 1/5 of a graphic novel, or it could stand on its own. Mm-hmm. So I like reading comics. I'll take anything. I'll take floppies. I buy trades. I buy digital. Mm-hmm. As far as like a space issue goes, I'm not too crazy about hardcovers because I usually give comics away when I'm done. I don't have a lot of room. Mm-hmm. So I don't.
Hardcovers are more expensive.
Yeah, so if I buy a hardcover, it's going to be like a Darwin Cook Parker hardcover, like the big one.
Yeah, right.
I've got those. What else I got? The Ditko collections, the IDW artist collections. Right. Like those are beautiful. Mm-hmm. And a real budget killer. But when it comes to everything else, I read them and I give them away. And I try and get other people. I don't usually read comic books more than once, so it's rare that I keep too many of them.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Like take Pals and get credit. If it's like a hardcover, there's Pals is the bookstore here. So every couple of years, I'll take a giant box, couple boxes in, and get store credit. Mm-hmm. For other books that I end up bringing back and giving away. We have these like little lending libraries around here in Portland. Mm-hmm. So if I'm walking the dogs, I might take a couple of books and drop them in there. They always go. Comic books go quick.
Yep. That's what I do with a lot of the trades that I get. Like if I'll go to, I don't know if you've ever heard of Ollie's. Okay, they're like a discount chain of stores, and they buy a bunch of overstock from all the publishers, usually Marvel and DC, but they've had Image and Zenescope and other companies as well. And so you got these trades that are like $19-20 for like $2.99 to $4.99, and I might get those, and I'll read them once and say, okay, here you go, library, type thing. Partly I do that because, well, okay, everybody says, well, you never read Marvel or you never read this. Okay, I've read it. You happy now? I've read it. This is what I think of it, And
it's not like Marvel issues you got to work through, man.
Yeah, Yeah, well, like I said, I can tell you more about that off camera sometime. But as far as format, I'm not fussy. I read floppies. I read the trades. The size, the print format isn't a deal breaker for me necessarily. Personally, I like 8.5 by 11 for my own stuff.
Okay.
But I don't know where my book is right this minute, so I can't grab one. But yeah, actually, I'll be right back. I know what I can do.
I'll be here. Well, I guess it's my show now. Everybody, welcome. Oh, he's back.
Yep, I just had to go grab it. This is the Wingman art book, which is this size format. It was 8.5 by 11. This happened to be black and white. It's because it's more of an art book and a history book of my stuff over from like the mid 80s to about 2010.
Let's see that author photo. Look at that guy.
Yeah.
Time traveling. Look at him. Look at you. Look at him. Look at you.
Yes, it's an older photo. And yeah,
we all use older photos.
Well, I don't get many people who take photos of me that much, to be honest. So, but and this is about the same size, 8.5 by 11. I just got this last week.
Oh, nice. It's sort of like a humanoid's size.
Yeah, this is a Cinebook.
Yeah, cool.
And of course, this is actually they are full color. So
yeah,
this is my preferred format. And when I actually start putting out books again, they will be this size. So,
great.
So that's what I would prefer for my own creating.
Good question, Eric.
Let's see. We got any more here or not? Oh, we don't. So if you have questions,
email them to.
Can you read that?
You get that uppercase I though.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Email them to quoththeravenlbr72@gmail.com, subject to QTR questions, and please indicate whether or not you want your name and locale read on air.
Not Eric. He stood by his convictions. Let everybody know.
Well,
Eric wants to know who's a dirty floppy lover. Dirty floppy lover?
Yeah.
Yeah, get those dirty floppies.
Yeah.
I had to explain to an Italian artist what I meant when I said floppy. He was very confused. What is this floppy you keep referring to? I was like, oh, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. Well,
regional differences.
Yep. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and... Oh, my silly computer's being funny. There we go. Let's go ahead and go with... starting with getting into Jason's early work.
Jason's early work.
Yeah. I can't remember which was first. First Moon or Continuity?
Neither.
Neither. Okay. Which one was your first?
Less Than Hero. This is the last set that's not in a landfill.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And we actually went through Diamond with this in 2004.
Okay.
Which is a shame because this thing's riddled with typos. You would need a hydraulic machine to put more typos in here.
Okay.
Less Than Hero, yeah. It came out the month after a top shelf book called Less Than Heroes. So we did a cross promotion there. But this was my first project with Tony Talbert.
Okay.
And then, so we self-published that.
And was that under your...
Yeah. This was my very first Polite Strangers book. There's a little logo right there. Yeah. Okay. Tony and I, at the time, even thought about, hey, we should change our names to Jason Stranger and Tony Stranger. That'd be a good promotional thing, like the Ramones.
Uh-huh.
But we didn't.
Yeah. We're the Polite Strangers.
We're the Polite Strangers. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but no one else is using it, so that's me.
It's unique. You know,
we self-published that, and we sold it in bars. and stuff. We had like art shows in bars, and
that's what I started my career in, was selling them in bars, art shows. The all kids stuff was in the daycare centers.
Did you ever sell a copy to a guy relieving himself in a trough?
No, I haven't done that.
The Eagle in San Francisco many years ago. So we couldn't get arrested in the comics world. So we would throw these art shows. We'd trick all these like more talented artists into putting their art. And then we'd say, ha, we just brought you here so we could sell our books. We would be the only comic books in the room. And we, all their art would be super expensive. So if you don't have $1,200 for that painting, do you have $3 for a comic book? And that's how we got going with Less Than Hero. And then once we got around 4 issues, I sent it into Diamond, and they said, "Yeah, well, we can distribute this." So Less Than Hero #1.
Even with all the typos and stuff, they said they could.
They didn't care. They didn't care in 2003.
Yeah.
And so what? You're half illiterate. Welcome to comics, you fool.
Yeah.
So the day this came out,
how much did they charge you for advertising? If anything.
I didn't advertise.
Ah, okay. They didn't make you buy any advertising to get for in Diamond's catalog or anything like that.
No, they might now. I don't know how it works now. I haven't gone through Diamond in years.
Yeah.
But the day this came out was the same day Identity Crisis #1 came out. Slightly beat us in sales.
Slightly.
Yeah. Rat bastards.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think that was. No, it wasn't. Okay, but okay. Then after
that, Tony wanted to do a family book, a young adult book. So I wrote First Moon.
Okay.
He was tired of drawing drug addicts and people in the city. He wanted to draw like werewolves in nature, and he wanted to do a young adult book for kids. So I wrote him this book based on the mystery of the lost colony of Roanoke.
Yes, let's go ahead and show that real quick. It was published in either, was it 2006 or 2007?
I don't know. I was drinking a lot back then.
Ah, okay. Well, that was published by AIT Plant Lar, written by Jason and drawn by Tony Talbert.
Yep.
Genre, I called it mystery historical fiction. Is that a reasonable?
Yeah, you win.
Okay. What it's about: in 1857, 110 settlers would establish the first English colony on the island of Roanoke, Virginia. Shortly after, they would all disappear, and their fate remained a mystery for centuries. Now, in the present day, a young man named Ben uncovers a startling secret. He and his family are descendants of the lost colony. To unlock this mystery, he will undertake a perilous journey through dark family secrets and through American history itself. Can Ben endure the curse of Roanoke and its survivors?
Man, that's a long solicitation copy.
Yep.
I would never write copy that long now. Way too long. Also,
and so this was actually a Xeric Award winner. And tell everybody what the Xeric Award actually was.
It's a lifesaver.
That's true, but
the Xeric Award, they don't do it anymore, but what they would do twice a year was they would dole out money to self-publishers to help them get their books out into the world. And it came at a great time because I had been evicted and I didn't get the letter. So in between the time I applied for the grant, I was so far removed from paying my rent, I had to take my dog and go. Mm-hmm. So I moved in with my girlfriend out in the Presidio, and I got an email, and they were like, "Hey, do you want this free money or not? You got to let us know in the next 24 hours." I was like, "Oh, I never got the letter. I don't live at that place anymore, and they're probably not going to give me my mail since I pieced out. I pretty much jumped out the window and left." But yes, so AIT distributed the book, and we published it.
Okay.
And basically what that means is that they just put it in the catalog as one of their books and stored it and treated it like one of their books. And we were able to publish it and not have to deal with stockpiling books and renting space and dealing with all the minutia and the granular details of dealing with Diamond. I'm not a great detail guy. So if somebody else wants to take that on, it's totally worth it. So yeah, we got the grant, and I think it was like for $3,500, which was enough to publish the book and get it out. And then actually there was profit of the book, and we got to make money, which was like the first time that ever happened in our lives, is to get a royalty check. we were like, what do we do? I think the first check was like, we each got a check for like $1,700, which if you think about it, was still less than the grant. We still lost money.
Yeah.
But Tony and I were like, oh my God, we're filthy rich now. We can
almost broke even.
Yeah, we less than broke even. But this was after we did Less Than Hero, which lost thousands of dollars, and Continuity, which also didn't make us any money. Mm-hmm. So our third book turned a profit. So we did this book, and then at the same time, I had written Continuity. Where's the camera? Continuity. I'd written this one, and I pitched it to Larry Young. Mm-hmm. Love Uncle Larry. And I'll never forget this. So Uncle Larry, he's not really my uncle, Larry Young, the publisher at AIT, he would hang out at Hold Court at a comic book shop called the Isotope, which is still around.
Yes.
But their original location.
A little brief on Continuity.
Yeah.
Again, you were working with Larry there at AIT Planet Lar. Mm-hmm. Genre, I call it science fiction horror.
Yep.
Came out in, again, 06, 07, thereabouts.
Probably, yeah.
The ISBN number is 978. Hey, I tell people so that they can look it up. If they can't find it, at least the ISBN number can help them. 978-193-205-1438. And I don't know if, this is, I guess, the solicitation copy that I found online for it. Alicia's life as a typical suburban misfit takes a horrific turn as her dreams begin to alter reality. She quickly finds herself orphaned, pregnant, and on the run from a pharmaceutical police state. Now she's fighting to stay awake and restore the world she once knew. I thought that was really interesting. 2006, 2007 was a really weird time for me because I was in the process of losing my home.
Uh-huh.
Like I told you, my parents had gotten sick, and the medical bills were just too much, and we ended up losing our home and doing. And so I missed those books at that time because I just wasn't in comics taking care of it.
A lot of people missed those books at that time.
Yeah. But, this is actually a pretty cool thing, I thought,
Thanks, man.
As far as the concept and everything. I was like, okay, yeah, I need to find this. I haven't found those two yet. I'm going to find them, or I'm going to get them from you out of your shop eventually. And we will show.
We've got dirt cheap.
Yeah.
I've got boxes of them.
Yeah. Well, like I say, we're gonna go ahead and mention your shop in a little bit. These, I couldn't tell which one came first, Continuity or First Moon.
Continuity was published first, but First Moon was created first.
Okay. Yeah.
So to me, they're like kissing cousins.
Yeah, that's what I got the impression they were around the same time. One another. So
we had a great time with Planet Lair.
Yeah.
Great time with Larry. Larry was nothing but supportive. Mm-hmm. Didn't ask us to change a word. It was really like a real, just like a family operation. It was a family atmosphere. He was local, so I guess we could stop by the office, have a bourbon with him. Larry liked to day drink at the time, which suited us great, And Larry was a real.
We should have picked on Larry and told him to come watch the show.
We can ping him. But he's he's a guy, a really opinionated guy, doesn't give a shit what anyone thinks. And
I think that's why he was so successful for the period that he chose to run his company. He was one of those guys that, like I said, he just, I'm going to do what I want to do, and you can either be on board with it and support it, or go screw yourself. I don't care. That was Larry.
He wouldn't consider himself a punk, but I think he's kind of a punk. So that
I don't know. When you say punk, you mean like punk rock, punk type.
Yeah.
That attitude, not punk.
Your own way.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I appreciate that. He has a punk entrepreneurial spirit that I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm. So, and you said the Isotope. That was I can't think of his name.
James
Syme. Yeah.
Now
there's a guy who's punk.
Yeah. Absolutely. Also, really, really supportive.
Yep. Very, very supportive for the independent team. True.
No, he definitely helped us out early on. We would not have continued without their support. Either of them, James, Larry, Kirsten, Mimi, the co-publisher, AIT. They all lifted Tony and I up. Tony and I were not good at managing a creative career.
Mm-hmm. Well, you were young, for one thing.
younger, but old enough to know better.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I mean, we were blackout drunks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we would just get loaded and wake up in strange places routinely, and it was a reckless life. And these people like James and Larry and Mimi and Kirsten put up with us when other people would have rightly just thrown us in a dumpster and forgotten about us. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we wouldn't be. I wouldn't be making comics without those guys. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. Who knows what I'd be doing? I'd probably be dead.
Oh, don't say that.
There's still time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then you had mentioned Girl Twirl.
Yes.
With Paige. So the next thing I saw was the Martian Confederacy.
Yes.
Which is, I have volume 1 shown here. There are 2 volumes in trade from Girl Twirl Comics.
The best thing about this is the ISBN number. So listen close.
Yes, the ISBN number is 9780979420719. The genre is science fiction. Released in 2008. Volume 2 is released in 2011. What it's about is Mars in the year 3535. There's toxic air, bloodthirsty politicians, and drinking bears. Stripped of the planet's natural resources and forgotten about as a vacation destination, Martians struggle to afford breathable air. Boone, Spinner, and Lou were 3 outlaws looking out for themselves. But when a cure from Mars's toxic air falls into wrong hands, thieves are forced to become heroes. And as an entire planet gasps for air, 3 rednecks will fight for the survival of their planet.
Man, that seems like a good book. I want to read that one.
Yep. If people have been saying, hey, when is Blake and Tara Intergalactic Thieves coming out? Well, you're waiting. Get this book. This is it's so much similar in the idea of thieves turning into heroes.
Yeah.
And doing what's right. So that's cool for that. That's one thing I did think was cool.
It's also a critique of the Monroe Doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big selling.
Other way around. You got yeah, there you go. First book on. Yes, flip them around. Pick which one you get. What's the second volume about? I didn't find anything on the second volume. Was it just a continuation, or is there like a love story going on?
Both the standalone books. So the second one is From Mars with Love. It's a love story. The only love story I ever wrote. Hearts will be broken, moons will be destroyed, and hooch will flow in zero gravity. You want the ISBN number? I'm not. Spoilers on the ISBN number.
I'll tell you. The funny thing about that one, that second one is reminds me of Love and Rockets a little bit.
Oh yeah, I'll take that. So these were illustrated by Paige Braddock, who does Jane's World. Spotted color. I have the files, and I keep meaning to upload them to Comixology, and I want to correct the typos, of which there are many. But I have to redo the files. I have to letter over the old lettering. It's a flat file, and it's a headache. But now that I have an assistant, maybe we'll get those up on Comixology this year.
Cool.
But I do still have some physical copies left. And Paige is a good friend, and she asked. I met her at a convention, and we just got along really, really well. And a lot of collaborations become an extension of a friendship, and that regard. So my work with Tony is an extension of our friendship. My work with Paige is an extension of our friendship. I just love her to death. So that I get to make art and books with her is great. It's been a while. I hope we get to do another one.
Cool. Now you kind of start to get a little bit noticed by somebody important, namely Image.
Well, not quite.
Not quite. Okay.
I did a book in 2011 called Shorthand.
Oh, that's true. You want to do that first? Okay.
Sure, because no one bought it. It's a book. It's a concept I did created with Rasan Ikadale.
Yes.
And I don't know that I even have a copy left, but
okay.
We did. It's on Comixology. You can get it for $1.99. It's probably the best thing I ever wrote. And I wrote a pilot episode, a pilot comic, and Rasan illustrated it. We sent it out, and everybody told us the same thing. It's too depressing.
Okay.
Because it's about a dying child. And my response is always, hey, look, we're all dying. And we don't have to see him die. I mean, Peter Parker was born.
You kind of gave away yeah. But anyway, shorthand. The Case of the Toothless Fairy. It's a one shot that was $4.99. Again, Jason was working with Rasan Ikadal.
Yeah.
Mystery crime story. Oscar's an 80-year-old detective hoping to crack one more case. When a thief begins targeting the elderly, he goes undercover to catch him. But can Oscar crack the case before his own secrets destroy him? I actually did read this one from the PDF you sent me. I agree. Beautiful story. Loved it.
Thank you.
I recommend it for ages 13 and up. I think that's a reasonable age limit, because I think younger readers might not understand what Oscar actually is dealing with. He has an illness, and what was the name of the illness again?
Progeria.
Yeah. So his body is physically aging. So he's 12 or 13, or how old is he again?
12.
Yeah. But he looks like he's 80.
Right.
And he hasn't got that much more time left.
No. So he has invented a backstory for himself where he was a detective and now he's a retired detective.
Right.
And it's a story about how you want to be seen and creating an identity for yourself. And I mean, as a writer, the greatest story you're ever going to tell is the one you tell about yourself.
Yep. And here are some of the interior pages.
Yeah. Rasan, beautiful artwork from Rasan.
Yes. And this is the early part of the story where the chief of police and the other assistant officer come to Oscar's home to because I guess he's been house arrested for whatever reasons. I'm not going to get into the details of that. And it's more of an introduction of the characters. We really don't find out that he is a child until about 2/3 of the way into the story.
Mm-hmm.
And that really puts a twist on the story. And I was like, oh, okay. I hadn't had a chance to go read up on the actual illness, but it made me want to.
Right.
And because, it's like, I know it exists. I've heard of it before. But a lot of people were probably like, did he just make that up?
Right.
I'm like, no, it's real, So I was like, I'm sorry to hear you don't have that many copies or any copies available to buy.
I can always reprint it. It was not a big seller. It was never a big seller. And I think it's a hard book to get people to give a shot. It seems like it's going to be asking too much. And you have to find the right tone and the right entry point to tell that story.
Yeah.
Not too dark. It's not too sappy.
No, it's not.
Light and bouncy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just didn't catch on. And I really, that broke my heart for like the second time in comics, or the third time. Yeah. And at that point, I gave up. I was like, I don't want to do this. I wrote something really, really good, and nobody would give it a shot. No publisher would go. Every publisher considered it, and they all passed on it.
Yeah.
And they said, you can't do a book where a child is dying. And I'm like, we're all dying. Like, if you want, like,
was that really that was their hang up?
James Bond is not getting any older. He's a timeless character. Peter Parker is a timeless character. Peter Parker was born in the 40s. We just don't talk about it.
Right.
So Oscar
he's the age now. He's it's like, no, if Marvel did comics right, Peter Parker would be retired from being Spider-Man, married with Mary Jane, Aunt May would be dead. They would have a daughter who's named May in respect to the aunt, and Miles Morales would be Spider-Man right now. And then maybe when May is a teenager, we'll do Spider-Girl, and that would be how it's done. But no, we got to have, deals with the devil, and you're no longer married, and Aunt May is still alive. And I'm just like, no. Now you know why people aren't reading your books.
I think Disney's going to be just fine. But the idea that these characters, they don't have to age, So
right.
It's just that at that point I said, fuck it, I'm not making any more comics. I'm done. And that was the end of that was the end of my comics career, like, for the second time or whatever. The second time or third time I quit comics for good.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was that I had pitched Greg Hinkle an idea,
mm-hmm.
and he kept bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started the book, and then he got a couple of pages and drifted away to some other project. And I was like, fuck it, man. We're never going to do this. I'm out. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
But his wife kept pushing us to do the book. She really liked the project.
Mm-hmm.
So at my wedding, we sort of reconnected, and we kept talking about it. And I was like, all right, let's do one last comic book, and that's it. And that'll be done.
Mm-hmm.
And that book was The Rattler, and we kickstarted it. So in 2014, we did this edition through Kickstarter. I have 2 copies left of this. We did a 500 copy run, and it sold out instantly.
Yeah.
Through Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, so early on, here's the funny thing. Early on, we were doing this book, and I wasn't sure we were going to do a Kickstarter, but I knew we would self-find it. We would self-produce it. We would do it on our own, completely done, and then shop it. Because after shorthand, I didn't want anyone's opinion on the story.
Right.
I knew that I could tell a good story, and Greg could produce it. I love his work. I think he's got a really unique style. That's a real grabbing style. Something Greg does that I don't know that people really maybe don't catch right away, but he does facial grammar in a way that no one else does.
Yeah, I'm going to show his art in just a second.
But you can. So anyway, he really the opportunity to work with him, and he was a friend, and I just knew that if we could do it done in one book, that it could stand on its own like a horror movie, like a 90-minute horror movie. So we kickstarted it. We got a really good reaction from the Kickstarter. We got a really good buzz from the Kickstarter. But before we did the Kickstarter, I sent it to Image.
Mm-hmm.
And they never got back to us, which is, a no.
Mm-hmm.
We did the Kickstarter. It did pretty well. Then Image, Greg went to Image to do Airboy. And then when he asked, hey, I have this graphic novel, The Rattler, do you want to do it? They were like, sure. But it was the same book I had sent them a year earlier. Nothing had changed.
They probably just never got around to seeing it.
Yeah, you never know. I don't. Yeah. Oh, they had a better relationship with Greg at that point. So yes, at that point, we republished it with Image Comics. I think in 2016.
Yes, it was released in March 2016. Mm-hmm. ISBN number again, 978-1632-156556. What it's about is 10 years have passed since Stephen Thorne's fiancee, Catherine, vanished without a trace after a horrific incident. In that time, he has become a dedicated and bitter, if not bitter, advocate for victims' rights. Despite the cold trail and dozens of false leads, he refuses to give up the search. Then he begins to hear her voice in the strangest of places. Pursued by his own organization, he embarks on a grisly journey to save his long-lost love. Definitely a mature reader's book.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get this artwork here shown here. This is the opening sequence of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a Chevette that they're driving, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
I thought so. I was like, my family owned one in the 70s and 80s, and I was just like, wow, really?
I dated a girl who had one.
Uh-huh.
So I wanted to honor her and put it in there.
Yeah. So it was like, that was kind of, I haven't read the whole PDF you sent me of this because I had a girlfriend that was killed by a drunk driver in 90.
Oh, Jesus. Sorry.
And so some of the imagery in the early, even though I wasn't there when when it happened, she got T-boned. It just like, I'm flashing weird thing because I owned a Chevette. My girlfriend was killed. It's just like weird juxtaposition there. But
if you got to the end, you would see that this is inspired by true events that happened to me as well.
Yeah. So it's like, it's like, wow. That's why I was like, okay. But this is Greg Hinkle's art. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, wow. I haven't got, like I said, I didn't get very far into it because of that. I had to put it down when I first looked at it, and I haven't gotten back to it. But they ran out of gas and they're on the side of the road, and it's gotten dark, and then a guy in a truck basically blows by them, and she yells at him a cuss word. You notice that the dialogue isn't on these pages. The reason it's not on the pages is because I took the images from his PDF, but the way the PDF is layered, when I copied the image, the dialogue was not on it.
It's my PDF, and I'm a hack. So
yeah. No, that's a good thing. I think I really think that's a good thing, because so many people want to just take the PDFs and then make their own copies and print them out and sell them and stuff. I've always heard this. So it's like, if they do that, they can't do it, because
it's like a lot of work to sell a book you can get for like $8 on Amazon.
Yeah, but well, whatever, But
if anyone wants to do that, cut loose. I don't know that there's that much demand.
Yeah, but anyway, he tows the car off the side of the road. They're going to take it to get some assistance, and the guy in the truck basically slams the Chevette into the back of his truck and then pulls off with her.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, I just, like I said, that just really hit me. Yeah. I thumbed through the rest of the PDF, just to get an idea, and it is very, very strange stuff. But I wasn't ready to read it yet, and I will read it.
There's no obligation to read it.
Yeah. Oh no, I want to read it. I just wasn't ready for that. I wasn't expecting that.
It goes to some places. We try not to glorify the violence too much. But there are some bloody bits. But hopefully they're all in service of the theme, which is the loneliness of men can destroy the world. So it was, working with Greg on that project that reinvigorated me and made me want to keep telling stories. I was ready to pack it up. It wasn't really working out. I wasn't getting any traction. But working with him and seeing this thing that was greater than what either of he and I could have done on our own, that was super inspiring. That was like a game changer. So in a lot of ways, I feel like my career didn't start until we did the Rattler.
Okay.
This is a book that I'm so proud of. That it is probably my bestseller too, which isn't saying a lot, but it is a gorgeous book that I will always be really, really happy with. And it stands on its own. It's a self-contained story. And when I look at Greg's artwork, I hear music, I can hear his work. It's because the tone has such a vibrancy to it. That, I don't know. I'm really excited that I get to work with him again now on Nocturnal Commissions.
Okay, well, let's go a little bit more further to more recent stuff. Cicada.
Cicada.
So, pardon?
I have a New York accent, so I call it the cicada.
Oh, okay. I don't know I don't know which one's which. But this is the variant cover by Justin Greenwood. Publisher is Jason's Own Polite Strangers. Genre is horror mystery. Every 13 years, a child killer returns to Braddock, Texas. As a small town prepares itself for a new cycle of terror, teenage prodigy Emma Dale has plans of her own. She's going to get the hell out of this town, even if it kills her. I read I read that whole thing. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Mature readers. Let's go ahead and do a quick glance at the early pages. Again, your PDFs, the script is not on the pages, but I like that because I like to show the art, and sometimes people get distracted by the story too. Bus driver goes taking the kids either to school or from home from school, and for some reason they would never do this in real life, but he stops to go get lotto tickets, and he gets out of the store and the bus is gone.
It was 1980. Things were different.
I thought that was really amusing though that happened. It was like, it's kind of like some of the dialogue in the thing was really poignant and truthful too.
Yeah.
The guy on the phone, the store clerk, is like, "You idiot! What you doing?" But here's another couple of pages. This is the lead, Emma Dale, and this is really interesting because she's not a normal character. She's disabled.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see visually. No, her hand is not drawn incorrectly. It is misshapen on purpose. And if you can't, you might think that that's some sort of tattoo or something on the back. That is actually a fake leg. Her leg is not there from the knee down. So I don't know exactly what her history was on that. That wasn't really explained in the first issue that well to me.
Okay. So it is a genetic affliction, and I knew someone who had this.
Okay.
So I based it off of her and her experiences, partly on her experiences growing up. I'd done some interviews with some people who grew up with some disabilities to try and get some insight into what their lives were like and what their teen years were like.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did interview 2 different people, and this is sort of a composite of their stories and my own fiction.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to write a book that took place where I grew up, which would be 93, like my high school year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a period piece between 1980 and 1993, and then eventually we will come to the 2010.
Okay.
So every 13 years and then 17 years at the end. So we'll jump forward a little bit in time.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually I was really enjoying for the setup of the story. She's at a bookstore where she's been called in, on by the store owner for shoplifting,
mm-hmm.
and the cops that are coming to the store. One of them actually is very supportive of the girl.
Yeah, the other one's pretty glib.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the guy is just your typical meathead cop. I hate to say.
For now.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't mean he doesn't have more depth. Maybe we'll see more. Maybe we won't.
Maybe we're not. Maybe I'm a shit writer. Who knows?
But it's not unreasonable for this character to be the way he is. But it's it's got the. Hold on a second. Got another. Okay. Someone else talking to me about something else on his page. But anyway, there's kids missing, and there's a bike stolen that has signs from the killer inside the bike. And was it a bike or a scooter or
tricycle?
Tricycle, yeah. And then
real case,
huh?
Also inspired by a true case. There was a girl with Bell's palsy who had a special tricycle made for her that got stolen.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in the paper, and I'll never forget her quote. Her quote was, "I really, 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 really want it back."
Mm-hmm.
Heartbreaking. So same thing. There's another crime that occurs to a kid in the book, which I also just ripped out of the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, and I'm sure you do this too, you'll read something and think, who does this? Right. So for a long time, I would just cut true crime stuff out of the paper.
Mm-hmm.
Back when they still made papers, people read them. Or you collect stories, or you collect little pieces of what you think might be part of a larger whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the cicada is sort of a Zodiac killer type of character who comes back to the same town every 13 years to punish children.
Mm-hmm.
So he returns in 93, and so we're vacillating back and forth between what happened in 1980 and 93, and they sort of work in parallel. I hope I do my job right to create a mystery.
Yeah, well,
but it would be a 5-issue miniseries, and we did the first issue, and we actually had a different publisher that wasn't me.
Oh, okay.
And it just wasn't a good fit with that publisher, so we are going to redo it ourselves this year. The property's reverted back to me, so I'm publishing it now. It's on Comixology, the first issue, if you want to read it for $2.99, or you can buy it from my store for $5. But we will continue the rest of the series this fall. Alberto and Paul and I are ready to come back, and the scripts are written. So it's one of those properties I've had for a long time.
Okay.
So don't get mad when I'm writing 6 books a month. And the ISBN number is a scorcher.
Mm-hmm. Well, that brings me to another question. You've had some fair success finding a variety of artistic collaborators on your projects. What advice would you offer an aspiring comic artist who asks, how do I find and keep artists?
Write a good story. That's it. You could try giving them money, but money doesn't mean they're going to stick with the project. I was paying someone $150 a page to work on a project, and they still walked away because they didn't like it. I keep the people that I work with generally like the scripts I write. I mean, we're friends, we have a relationship, but
they really believe in what they're doing.
Yeah, they believe in what they're doing. Greg Hinkle has other options. You know what I mean? I know what he's working on next, and he's getting a great rate. He's getting more than I could pay him. So generally, if someone is going to work with me, they're probably taking a pay cut. I pay my collaborators, but they could probably get better options somewhere else. They're doing it because they believe in the work, or they like the script, or I wrote something that appeals to them. So for Nocturnal Commissions, I spent a weekend with Greg at a horror convention behind the table, and we asked, what does he want to draw? We came close to doing other projects after the Rattler. There was like a bunch of things that almost came together for us, but didn't. He's not the quickest artist, so he has to be really methodical in what he chooses to do. So, and he's got a family to support. He needs to make money. So he has to make the right decision. So we talked a lot about what would he be excited about illustrating. And that's where we came up with Nocturnal Commissions. That was tailor-made for him. So we talked about what he wants to illustrate, and then within that framework, I found a theme I could work with and a story that is just for him. The script wasn't going to go to anyone else. If he didn't want to do it, it just would have gone in the drawer or hard drive with all these other scripts that have been unproduced. So when I look for an artist to work with, I want to find someone who has a specific voice. I'm doing a book with an artist named Anka Gladnick next. And they have a really unique illustrative style, and it's gorgeous. And it's not like most comic book art. And I just think that inspires me. I want to create books that I want to pick up off the shelf. So there are a lot of artists who have indistinct styles.
Right. And
it's not that they're not great draftsmen, or it's not that they have a lack of anatomy. It's not anything other than I don't see anything in their work that 100 other artists don't do.
Right.
And I would rather not make a book than make a book that doesn't excite me. Right. I'm always making any one of these books is something that I want to go into a comic book shop and discover for myself as a reader. And so often when I go into a comic book shop, I don't even know where to begin. And everything just looks the same to me. So if you have a distinct style or voice, that's going to appeal to me.
Yeah, that was kind of what I'm getting at when I was saying the writers are doing so many books. And you're writing out so many scripts if they're all doing it at once. Like you say, a lot of them have stuff that's been sitting around as well.
Right.
But you get used to a person's writing style. You get used to a person's voice, and you lose interest in it if you get too much at one time. That can happen.
Right.
And it's the same thing with the artists. I mean, like you say, there's so many artists that are technically solid, but if you were to put their artwork up on a wall side by side and said, okay, who did what? You can't tell who did what because they're so similar. There's just nothing that distinctively separates them.
There are so many Jim Lee clones out there. I'm like, look, Jim Lee's great, but he's Jim Lee. Early on in an artist's career, you can usually see who their influences were, and then they grow past that and they get their own style. And there are so many artists. I see so much art where I'm like, I can't tell. This could be anybody. So
well, not only that. I mean, if you meet some of these guys, they have other art styles that they can do, and they wish they were allowed to. But the big two, Marvel and DC, go, no, we want this from you. And it's like, guys, if you want to draw a different art style, go self-publish. Go to Kickstarter. Go to Indiegogo. Show that you're more than just this, because people are looking at you and thinking you're a one-trick pony.
Okay.
And you're not. I can see you have other skills.
Right.
I'd love for that to be seen. And if these other people, these know-it-all editors, these management guys who think they know what's best for business, are holding you back, this is your option. And it's scary. I'm not going to say it's not. It's always scary when you're putting yourself out there. But that's what this whole new movement is now, is giving creators an opportunity to do stuff that we couldn't do otherwise.
When you say new movement, you mean Kickstarter?
Yeah, the whole crowdfunding movement in general.
I think there's a lack of gatekeepers. Really, like I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think I'm doing professional level work.
I think you're doing professional level work.
I think I'm doing image level work, just not through the traditional channels.
Right.
Because I didn't have to ask permission. I didn't have to go to a gatekeeper and say, may I? I think I would rather show people what I did than rather what I would like to do.
Yeah.
Which I think is critical. And, as far as art styles go, different collaborators bring out different traits in people.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope the different artists I work with bring out different traits in my writing. So I generally do all the lettering, and I do the lettering last. So even though I write a full script, after I get the artwork from someone like Tony and John Heaving, I go through and I rewrite all the dialogue to match what they did on the page.
Right.
So I'm getting inspired by their art. So I just don't throw a script at Tony and say, draw, monkey. And I adapted. So I write this book like twice. I write a full script and then I get the art and I rewrite the dialogue, almost all of the dialogue.
Yeah, see, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll give an artist a script. I don't want to work full script. Dude, if you have a better idea for layout, tell me. I'm going to adapt it when I see your artwork anywhere. But I'm just giving you what's in my head so that you know what I'm looking for. And if you have a better idea, we're collaborators. But a lot of artists, particularly the younger artists, can't wrap their minds around that for some reason.
You have to write a full script because it's baseline problem solving. You never want to waste an artist's time. You never want an artist going, what am I doing today? I don't know. Right? So I tell this every collaborator, I say the same thing. If you have a better idea, just do it. Don't ask me. You have to check in. You make it the way you want to make it. But if you don't have a better idea, do the script. There's always an option in front of you. You're never stalling for time. Right. You always have a path forward.
Yeah. Well, at least see we're very much of the same mindset there. That's cool. You just put up Sucker, which is one of your newest releases. That was done with Tony penciling and John Heaving.
Yes.
As inker and editor, and John's inks really changed the looks for Tony pencils. I noticed this.
Yeah.
Which it's like it feels a lot like Mike Allred to me. Really? Especially on the cover did. That it really felt like a Mike Allred type look.
Mike Allred would never draw a cover that salacious.
No, he wouldn't. But I'm just saying, stylistically, it really reminded me of that style, which is a good thing. This was originally released in July of 2018. Genre I caught horror grindhouse.
Yes.
The last vampire returns to plunge the human race into a hellscape of death and depravity. A disbanded team of vampire hunters are forced to reunite. And a brass knuckle wielding priest and a half drunk deadbeat get it together before the human race sucks on its last breath.
Now that's good copy.
Yeah. But I don't have any interior art on this one, so you're gonna have to show folks that.
It's a little
risque, huh?
It's not pornographic, but it is more adult than my other books.
Well, like I said, it's definitely mature readers.
Mature readers, yes.
Yes.
What can I say about this? So these guys, Tony, I've worked with Tony before.
Right.
And after we did 3 books back to back, Lesson Hero, Continuity, and First Moon. And then we did what collaborators would never do. We moved in together as roommates. So now it was more like, hey, Tony, you brought home a screamer last night. Or, hey, Jason, your girlfriend ate all the peanut butter. It just became like domestic squabbles. Who paid the PG&E bill? The power got turned off. The landlord's mad about this. Or, we're in a feud with these other roommates or the upstairs neighbor. And, I didn't deal well with having people living next door to me. And So we just became domesticated, and we just stopped working together because we were living together. We saw each other every day. It wasn't special anymore. We didn't need these books to be an extension of our friendship. We needed to get the fuck away from each other. We were sick of each other. We would get drunk and punch each other in the face, and then hug and cry, and then not, talk to each other for a month. It was crazy. But we loved each other. But,
we need to get Tony on now.
Yeah, you need some space,
Yeah, you do.
But I love the guy. He was the best man at my wedding. When I did when you usually do the traditional dance with the mother, I had mine with a motherfucker. I danced with him. I love the guy. But we hadn't collaborated in years. And at a certain point, I remember telling someone, like, Tony, we'd started Sucker in 2007, and then it just petered out after like 15 pages. And then John had some health issues, and I was like, oh, that book will never happen. And then Tony I was going through the files. I was like, we actually have like 30 pages. And he contacted me about the same week I was thinking of him. He's like, you ever think about that book? I'm like, I was just looking at the pages. And he's like, we should do it. Let's just get the band back together again. It was like the Blues Brothers. He's like, let's just do it again. Like, we're both smarter, older. We live in separate states now, so we're not going to punch each other in the face. And we're both better. We're just both better problem solvers now than we were back then. We're both so upstarts. We both wanted something so bad. And we both thought, like, our careers were going to be this thing. And our careers became something different. And it morphed. And the metric of success is no longer, are we making money? Are we getting these other opportunities? And it's like, did we make a kick-ass fucking book? And Sucker is a kick-ass fucking book from beginning to end. And I was like, wow, we did the first volume. That's pretty good. Can we do another one? And we did another one. And now we're doing the third one. And it's the most reliable project I have, much to my surprise, because we were the most unreliable guys. We were the guys who would come drink all the booze at your house, eat all the food at your house, clog the toilet, and leave. So... And, we had such a good time working with AIT Planet Lair. If AIT was still active, I would still be making books with them. I thought that was a great place for us.
Yeah, one of these days I'm going to have to get Larry on the show and have him explain why he stopped.
They had a son, and I think Walker's their life. Like he posts pretty regularly, and he's all about being a dad. He's a good dad.
Yeah, he is. He is.
It's the story of him being a dad is pretty cool. Like him and his son is, he's got a lucky kid. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And I love Larry, and hopefully one day he comes back to it. Yeah.
Well, he always says, "I've done everything that I set out to do with the company. I don't have anything left to prove." He always says that, and I'm like,
writers don't stop writing, And
I'm kind of looking at him like, yeah, you still got something left to prove because it has nothing to do with proving that you can do it. We know you can do it.
Yeah.
It's more of a, it's like, not only can I do it, I can do it better than everybody else. And
he's a good writer. I also want to read what he's working on.
Yeah, well, not just a writer. I mean, just as a publisher. Because, he did a lot of stuff that was challenging to the market.
Sure.
He released a lot of stuff that was very, Eric Stevenson at Image is always talking, we had to cut our line 30%. And I'm like, yeah, but you're publishing all the same people that everybody else publishes. You're not doing anything. I call Image the imitative Age of Comics for a reason.
What?
Because everything's the same as what I've already seen everywhere else. There's very, very little stuff out there that Image does that makes me go, oh, I haven't seen that before. I hadn't seen like Demo when anything like Demo when.
Oh, right. Demo was groundbreaking. Demo was great.
I hadn't seen anything, I'd seen sort of stuff like Astronauts in Space, but nothing in the mainstream.
Right.
Like Astronauts in Space.
Astronauts in Trouble.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Astronauts in Trouble. Pardon me. Yeah, and stuff like that just made me go, hey, here's somebody who actually has something to say and do with this market.
You can't tell me he didn't have a good eye.
He did. He had a very good eye.
Charlie Adlard. You ever heard of him?
Yeah.
His early books were there.
Yeah.
Ryan Wood, Becky Cloonan.
Yep.
Rick Remender, Matt Fraction. I mean, in my estimation, they were like the Saturday Night Live of comics. So when I got a yes from Larry, I was elated. It was one of those, I'll never forget the day it happened. We were talking at the Isotope. He said, "Yeah, I'll do that book. We'll do that." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." It was like the first time a publisher had said, someone who wasn't me said, "You're a good writer. I want to work with you." And he agreed to publish Continuity before Tony was involved. And I remember riding my bike. I got like 2 blocks, pouring rain in San Francisco, and I got a flat tire. And this was out when they were way out in the outer sunset. They were at like 43rd and Moraga. And I was so happy. I didn't give a shit. I just carried my 10-speed over my shoulder and walked home for like 2 hours in the pouring rain with a big smile on my face because somebody believed in me, because Larry believed in me. And it meant a lot to me because he had excellent taste in creative people.
Yep. I can see that. Yeah.
So
well, that takes us up to
there's more?
Yeah, there's more. Now we're ready to go to Kickstarter.
I totally forgot.
You totally forgot?
I'm here. The Pimp a Kickstarter.
Yeah. You gotta
Nocturnal Commissions.
Yes, you gotta pimp that stuff.
I have a terrible memory.
And we are here now. Your Kickstarter campaign, Nocturnal Commissions. Yes, and you know that is a pun.
Is it?
Yeah, really. Concludes February 26th. So you got about a week to follow it and support it. It is by Jason and Greg Hinkle. And this is kind of an interesting thing. It's a day job for night people when a werewolf, a vampire, and a zombie open a detective agency.
Oh, yeah.
I'll let you read the rest.
Are you being trolled by ghouls, pestered by the paranormal, or attempting to file taxes after being resurrected? Nocturnal Commissions is the only agency with the expertise to help. A wolfman, vampire, and a zombie are ready to solve your supernatural concerns for a very reasonable rate, plus expenses.
Yes. Now, of course, I don't have the thing. There's a very long Kickstarter name there across the bottom. I can't possibly read all that down there. But I will definitely post a link to that. In fact, why don't we go ahead and do that right now in our chat room here. There we go.
Bada bing, bada boom.
You can go there. And we can also go to the Nocturnal Commissions page in just a second. And let's see. I gotta play with share screens. There we go.
Boom.
Yep. And we have, it says 5 days ago. I thought we had 6, but well, okay.
It ends Wednesday evening.
Yeah. But it already has achieved its goal. So this will come out.
Yes.
And
the art is done. I sent you a PDF. The book exists.
Yes.
Like, this isn't going to be a case of I take your money and I disappear. I don't launch Kickstarters until all the art is finished.
And that's a good thing. There's so many people that not only do we have the Kickstarters that are doing that, with a Kickstarter, you're always adding stuff to it to get more support.
You have to go cautiously.
Yeah.
And you have to build that. You have to build those expectations into your budget.
Yes. And not only that, I mean, like I always tell them, what all do you want me to give you? A poster, a trading card set, a T-shirt, a toaster. I tell people, it's like, instead of begging me or me begging online, on Kickstarter, how about you just join my fan club and I'll give you all that for X amount of dollars up front, but that's just me. But, we're sitting here, you got 249 backers. Well, here you go. here's one of our guys that usually is here, John. Says hello.
What's going on, John?
Yeah, he had a, like I said, he had a rehearsal for a show tonight that I didn't know he had, so that's why he wasn't here from the beginning. He usually is. But let's go ahead and run that video.
Looks great. I'm in.
Greetings. My name is Jason McNamara, and I am the writer and co-creator of Nocturnal Commissions.
I'm Greg, co-creator and artist of Nocturnal Commissions.
Nocturnal Commissions is about a werewolf, a zombie, and a vampire that join together to make the world a better place and make a few bucks in the process.
Nocturnal Commissions may play in the horror genre and star a bunch of monsters, but there's a buddy comedy bubbling underneath the surface. Our main characters are all outcasts who find their place in the world when they find each other. I wanted to make sure the art reflected their genuine affection and let their interactions shine instead of hiding everything in dark shadows.
Nocturnal Commissions is completely illustrated and lettered, and Greg is coloring it now. But we still need your help to make the book a reality.
We've really come to love these characters over the course of making this issue. We're excited to get to share it with you and hope that this is just the beginning of their adventures.
Greg and I previously co-created the Rattler graphic novel back in 2014 and published it through Kickstarter. And we've come to the realization that the only way we're going to get to work together again is if we make our own opportunities here on Kickstarter. If you have supported my previous campaigns for the Rattler, Sucker Volume 1, Sucker Volume 2, or the Cicada, you know that I am hell-bent on delivering for my backers. Making comic books is a privilege that I do not take for granted. Nocturnal Commissions will not be widely distributed to comic book stores, and Greg and I rarely appear at conventions. This campaign is loaded with exclusive perks that you will not find anywhere else. And as that campaign progresses, we hope to introduce pinups and variant covers from some of the biggest names in the comic book industry. So thank you for taking a look at our campaign and the rewards we have to offer. I look forward to signing your copy of Nocturnal Commissions. Thank you.
Ugh, painful to watch. Painful to sit through that. I will say this: they're handsome as hell, those two guys. Humble too, so humble.
Let's see here. Yes, you know, someone described it as X-Files meets the Monster Squad, and that is I was thinking Monster Squad myself when I.
That somebody would be me.
Is that what you wrote? I didn't know if it was someone else that. Because there was other people that were quotes in there. I just, you know, but yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, this reminds me of Monster Squad or that 80s cartoon, The Drac Pack.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
You know, and I was like, yeah, I like this. I got to get a hold of Jason McNamara. That's basically kind of.
I'm eager to get a hold of.
Yeah. But because, I mean, you know, for all the other stuff you've done, this was actually the first time I'd heard of you was this book.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
You just discovered me on Kickstarter?
Yep.
Just cruising by?
But that's the thing, you know.
You never know.
This is why I always get kind of annoyed with the mainstream, the retailers who sit there and go, well, there's nothing, you know, we can't sell this. I'm like, this is what I'm looking for. You know, this is, you know, I show people this stuff all the time and they're like, yeah, but that won't sell. And then, like you say, you're not actively marketing this to the direct market. And that's, you know,
it's a different market. It's a totally different expectation and delivery system.
It is. But not just that. It's the whole, you know, if you went through that delivery system of Diamond, would they even give you the time of day or not?
Well, I don't expect them to. If I went through Diamond, I would have to create my own opportunities and awareness. I don't expect them to do it for me. Mm-hmm. My expectation at Diamond is that I ship them books and they ship them to comic book stores. Mm-hmm. That's it. And I think it's unrealistic to think that they are going to bend over backwards to help you when you haven't made them any money. You're not anybody until you make someone some money.
Right.
Really. So if Kirkman wants to self-publish something, they'll work with him. If Jason McNamara wants to self-publish something, they'll give him the opportunity to do so, to carry it. That's all I need them to do. Everything else is on me. And even when you do a book with a small publisher like Image, not small, they're not small, but I'm a smaller part of Image, right?
Right.
I still had to create my own.
Everybody has to market their own book.
Yeah, everyone has to market their own book. I mean, I'm not Brian K. Vaughan. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
My name is not going to open doors.
Right.
I have to do that myself, and I'm fine. I'm happy doing that myself.
Mm-hmm.
I like doing that. All writing is problem solving.
Yep.
Publishing is just more problem solving.
Yep.
But I'm not at the space where I have another graphic novel. If I had a graphic novel ready to go, I would entertain going through Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
But doing a floppy or doing like a 30-pager, the economics are not there to publish thousands of copies of Nocturnal Commissions and put that through Diamond. I'm just not there.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to have $6,000 or $8,000 in the bank and then be able to wait 6 months to get paid. We're just not there. So I'm not focusing on the direct market. I love the direct market. I love comic book stores. To me, comic book stores are church. Like, I love walking into a comic book store and just inhaling it. I could be there all day. But for what I can do, so if you want to succeed in the direct market, you need to have a constant presence. You need to be there every month.
Mm-hmm.
If I show up once a year with a book, I'm starting from scratch every time.
Yep.
And I'm always fighting Batman. And what do we know about Batman? Batman always wins. So the experience that I can give my backers on Kickstarter, I will sell 1/10 of the copies through Kickstarter that I could through the store.
Right.
And I'll make the same amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the experience that I can do through Kickstarter? I'm handling every book. I'm signing every book. I'm making the stickers. I'm doing all of it. So if you support one of my projects on Kickstarter, you're not just pre-ordering a book. You know what I mean? You're supporting an entrepreneurial spirit. You know, I have an assistant who works 3 hours a week who helps me. The rest of it's all me.
Mm-hmm.
I make that poor kid sit over here and label books. That's what we're doing tomorrow. We're labeling we're shipping all these books out. We're finishing the Sucker 2 campaign tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's me. You're supporting an artist, and I do these things all on my own. So that's the difference between the experience of supporting a Kickstarter and buying a book off the shelf.
Yep.
I am literally putting it in a box and signing it and making sure that you got the right sticker, the right print, all that stuff. And it's unique. You can't find this in a store.
Right.
So you're also getting an exclusive experience, the bragging rights.
Yes. Like, look what I got.
Yeah. I mean, really, the Rattler was a great success. 500 people and it sold out.
Mm-hmm.
And then that had no copies. You know what I mean? But people were talking about it online, and then other people couldn't get it, which
Right.
that created a demand.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, let's look at the Kickstarter real quick.
Right.
Different levels of rewards. Obviously, we start off with either back because you believe in it for no reward, just because the project speaks to you, and it says $10, but you can
make that $1. Yeah.
make it whatever. Yeah. Pledge $5 or more, you get a digital PDF copy of the series. I've seen that his PDFs are well done. The only thing I'm not against PDFs personally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just on this computer I can do it. On my regular old computer, there's not enough memory space to do all the PDFs.
Well, here's the thing: shipping internationally can be really expensive.
Exactly.
Right. So buying a 30-page comic book, the shipping is going to be more than the book itself.
Exactly.
So,
not even just internationally, but even nationally here in the U.S. these days, because they just jacked up the price again last month.
I know. And I don't ship media mail because there's no guarantee that media mail, the comic books actually qualifies media mail.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on every time I walk into my post office with books, they say, you can't ship comics media mail. Before I say anything, I'm like, these are priority. These are first class. I'm not shipping media mail. But they know me as the comic book guy. I don't have a name. I am just, you can't ship comics media mail. And
they're full of shit.
I know. I get so many different answers on
magazines are media mail. Screw you. That's
but I can't take the chance that my backers then have to pay the difference, right?
Exactly.
That's not good customer service.
No, I've had that argument with
and they'll get the book quicker too. I don't want the book to be beat to shit.
You can ship comics media mail, but you got to get a license for it. That's all.
Okay.
And, is it worth it for what little we're doing with the crowdfunding? No. But if you had like 10,000 backers,
sure.
Yeah, you go get it. but
if I'm shipping 200 books, I want them to get those books right away.
Exactly.
Right? And I want a tracking number. I want to say, hey, thank you for buying this. I'm going to send you a tracking number, and you're going to get it really soon. Like if I put up an update, you're going to get it a couple days later.
Exactly.
And my hope is I convert sucker backers into nocturnal commission backers. And when I'm shipping the nocturnal commissions, I'll launch the next one. They will never be happier with me than when they're getting a book in the mail.
Yeah.
And people always say the same thing. They never tell me about the story. They always say, I got it. I can't believe I got it.
Right.
Why wouldn't you get it? I told you you're going to get it.
Well, because so many people take so long getting their stuff out. And,
it's a modicum of planning. I'm not an especially bright guy. And I drink a lot. And I can figure this shit out.
Yeah.
No one has any fucking excuses.
Yeah, well, you're not Ethan Van Sciver either, doing a freaking podcast for 6 hours a day.
I'm not familiar with the man's work.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if the guy would just go do his job, he might have his books out on time. I'm too busy talking about everybody else right now.
Time management is critical to any creative career.
Yeah.
Where you spend your energies is.
Yeah. But anyway, let's pledge $12 or more, and you get a physical copy of the.
And that includes shipping.
And that includes the shipping, and of course, you also get the digital PDF. So you basically get 2 copies for $12. You get a physical copy and the PDF.
With all the stretch goals that we've hit, you're actually getting like 300 pages of PDFs now.
Wow.
From $5 and up. Yeah, you're getting both the sucker books. You're getting the Rattler. You're getting the Cicada. You're getting something else too. I can't even remember anymore.
For $5, you're getting all that.
For $5, you're getting 300 pages worth of comics. So every tier now gets all those. Let me look at it.
300 pages. Holy crap!
Yeah, look at it.
I mean, damn. Where are we at?
Pull up the campaign.
I'm on there.
Are you? Okay, scroll down so you can see the stretch goals that we've hit. So now look at the 5. Scroll a little bit more.
Okay, no, all the stuff that's crossed off is stuff that's already been proven.
Yeah. If you keep going, you'll see the $5. I have reward tiers with the visuals, and you will see. Yeah, keep going. The rewards. There you go. Look at that digital demise. You get Sucker, the Rattler, Sucker Volume 2, the Cicada, and Shorthand, and Nocturnal Commissions for $5. That is 300 pages worth of comic books for $5, and I'm including those on every tier now.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's batshit.
Yeah, that's wow. Yeah, if you're not, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on.
You can't lose for $5 for 3 graphic novels and 3 comics for $5. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Anonymous. Get on it.
Yep.
So yeah, this is a value I'm trying to create. I'm trying to make people aware of my other projects. So hopefully we can convert some of these people into sucker backers the next time we go out, into Cicada readers, and just give them a value. Like, this is an experience you're not going to get anywhere else.
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't realize that you had done that much added on the tiers. Damn.
Generous guy.
Yeah. I mean, so many people are just doing like, here's another print, here's another art piece, type thing. But
I want to do a print, but I want to do a print the right way. And they're expensive to do the right way. I want to do it on like archival smooth paper. I'm not just printing it up over here. I have a printer in London I use for the prints. They're really nice. They're lithographs. I want you to get that in the mail and go, oh, wow, this is worth it. This was not just knocked out of Kinko's. Not as if I would ever step into a Kinko's again. If I did, it would be to burn it down.
Oh, jeez.
God, everyone's got a nightmare Kinko story.
Kinko's, UPS, whatever,
No thanks.
Yeah, but I mean, you got preferred client where you get signed copies of cover A and cover B,
Sticker sheets.
Yeah.
And your name will be in the book, included as a happy customer of the agency.
Or your Twitter handle or whatever.
Yeah. Again, so I always like when you like go to like a play or you go to like the opera and they have like the donors in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I love that shit. I'm a sucker for that. You want to put my name in a book? That's a reward that I want. I love that. I don't know why. I know it's ego stroking, but I love when I can pick up a Kickstarter book and my name's in the back. And go, I was one of the publishers of this book. So if you support my comic book, that you are my publisher.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want one publisher. I want 300 publishers to publish this. It's a different experience.
That's actually, I think that's a really good analogy.
Yeah, like
as a co-publisher of the book.
Yeah, you're saying this is worth making.
Yeah.
I mean, you do that every day when you buy something off the shelf, right? You're saying, this is going to continue to get made because I support it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're funneling it through a bookstore channel and a publisher and all these other...
All these other gatekeepers already approved it.
Yeah, it's just me. Like, you're just telling me and Greg, like, I'm going to publish you and Greg. We cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, and I appreciate that. And I've had such great conversations with backers through Kickstarter that I never had at conventions or comic book stores.
Mm-hmm. I go to conventions all the time. They're like, well, when's your next book coming out? And I tell them, well, I'll wait for it to come to the comic shop. I'm like, the comic shops never supported it when I was doing them in the 90s.
Right.
You got to get it from me. And it's like, well, I don't want to go. Wait. Oh, wait. Well, then, okay, well, you hold your breath while I get around to it.
Yeah.
And they go, you mean don't hold your breath? No, I mean hold your breath.
Hold mine too.
Because it's like, but, because I hear people tell me all the time that they want me to bring back the stuff I did in the 90s, like Spacey and Charger, and in the 80s and 90s. And it's like, guys, this stuff takes time and it takes money to make. If you want to do it, you got to show me the love, show me some money, show me something other than saying I want it,
And economics can be tough to talk about.
It is.
And Greg and I worked out of pocket on this, so we will only get paid if it makes a certain amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
But the first step is to get the book printed and shipped.
Mm-hmm.
And then if there's anything left over, then Greg can feed his family.
Let's hope. Let's see. You got a lot of variant covers on this.
I know, maybe too many. I don't know. We just kept getting great art. Artists kept giving us beautiful art. This Anka Gladnick cover is just a stunner, and I didn't want it to be just a pinup. I didn't want it to be just a print. Like that deserves to be a cover. That's a shit kicking cover.
Mm-hmm. Silly question.
Yeah.
Even though you got all the different covers. Does each cover have like all the other covers inside as?
Yeah, we will.
Okay. I'm just curious because some people might just want one cover, but they, who knows?
Honestly, the art is so good that I'm going to show it off inside. Like I have a Jim Mafu cover. Come on. I got to put that inside.
Yeah.
I don't advertise that, but yeah, there will be a cover gallery.
Yeah.
We have to.
You can also get the Airboy hardcover from Image with an original Greg Hinkle sketch on an interior page.
Yep.
Wow, he's going to sketch all over the art, huh?
No, there are some blank pages.
I know that. I'm kidding. The reason I said that was because back in 92 or 93, Dave Sim was at a convention, and I didn't have any Cerebus with me. And all anybody had was the big, thick tomes. I didn't want to spend that much. But Spawn number 10 had just come out, so I got a copy of Spawn number 10.
Oh, nice.
And I brought it to him, and he's like, nobody's bringing me that damn book. Nobody bring me. He said, no, you don't understand. I want you to draw all over Todd's shitty-ass art. So, the big 2-page spread with the explosion in the story? Oh, okay. Well,
it's been 25 years.
Okay. Well, there's a big 2-page spread. That's just an explosion scene. So I got a big Cerebus sketch in the middle of the book in gold ink with a thought balloon that says, ouch.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, and he was like that actually made him happy because he was like tired of signing Spawn all day. Like they didn't even know what you did Spawn. You did Spawn. They didn't even know what Cerebus was. I'm like, no, I know what Cerebus was. I just didn't know you were going to be here at the show. If I realized you were, I would have brought some Cerebus to sign, but I'm not going to buy a $40 tome.
Right.
When I already have the issues at home. I just, that was my, and he understood that. But, this was at least affordable. This was only, cover price at the time, which was what, $2, $1.95, whatever. But, I was like, no, I just, I don't like Todd McFarlane anyway. It's the only issue of Spawn I actually still have. So, I'm not, when I say I don't like Todd McFarlane, I should say I don't like Todd's work that much. I should say it that way. I don't know Todd. I'm not against Todd as a person or.
He's coming over later. We're going to drink beers and watch hockey.
I'm
going to tell him what you said about him.
Okay.
Yeah.
He'll make an action figure of me.
He's ghostwriting the next issue of Sucker. Yeah, he's told me his plans for the ISBN number.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Okay. But there's various things here. But
various things. Lots of covers. It's going to be a small print run, so a lot of those covers are going to be real short runs.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's actually already gone.
The Greenwood cover, the Greenwood art.
Yeah.
Actually, the original art for the Greenwood piece has been claimed.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because if it wasn't claimed, I would have kept it.
Yeah.
I have it here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Justin Greenwood's a good buddy of mine, and hopefully he and I one day will get to work together.
Yeah. Okay. So we got 5 days left to back this one. Mm-hmm. And, I want to see this get to around 400 to 500 backers if we can. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
we're halfway there as far as the number of backers. The money is pledged, and it's going to come out. And this is something I always say about Kickstarters: is it's not just the money.
No,
the money is everybody looks at look how much money they raised. It's not about the money; it's the amount of backers.
Yeah,
that we got it. You got to look at the number of backers. We want
to spent.
Yeah,
I'm going to die poor anyway.
Yeah, so it's like we want to see as many backers as we can find on and not just Jason's, but any Kickstarter that I've found, whether I'm putting them on, bringing them here and promoting them here on Quoth the Raven or otherwise. Because not only are we building another avenue for comics and comics distribution, but if we can start building these numbers, because, when you look at a number like 249 backers, what Diamond does is says, well, let's see, there's only 250 people who are interested in that book anyway.
Right.
But if you can get thousands and thousands and thousands of backers on these, it's going to make retailers, it's going to make Diamond rethink their strategy of what should and shouldn't be in. And it's going to change what we can do, not just in terms of crowdfunding and what we can do through the mainstream, or if we can even build a new distribution system where we all have different, instead of, you're doing all the fulfillment yourself.
Mm-hmm. I like doing that myself, to be honest.
Yeah. But if you had like 5,000 of them, it would be a really time consuming thing.
I would not enjoy that. No.
So you'd have, but if you had like everybody in Portland, that your click group and that of comic book creators all had that sort of thing, you could have one warehouse for everybody,
right?
And regionally, and that way is where that's, to me, that's an end goal for everybody. That's what I want to see happen ultimately I
would have stayed managing my own career. And I definitely like.
No, everybody's still managing their own career. I'm just saying it'll give us a hub where everybody can still have their autonomy and control, self-control, but have the personnel to help us get stuff mailed out, more or less. and distribute it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That I think would be beneficial for everyone in the long run. And I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. It's going to take quite some time, but we have to have enough of an interest to make that worth our time to make too. So, but that that's what we got to do, one thing at a time. So, I haven't actually backed the product yet. I'm trying to.
What?
Nope. I haven't got my paycheck this week.
What? You spend $8,000 a week on comics, sir.
No, I don't.
You said that hour one of this podcast.
Not $8,000. I'm going to get the $30 pledge, I believe.
Okay.
That is the Retail Revenge. We get however many. He says a crypt full of signed copies. I think you said it was 5 or 6 copies. Well, before to me, you said.
It's a surprise. I also put spiders in the box. So you open it up and there's books, but there's also spiders.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it'll give my cat something to have fun to play.
Yeah. Oh, your cat it's a lot of spiders.
Yeah. Well, I got a black cat, so.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So they, I'll be getting that later. Probably tomorrow tomorrow's when
time is running out.
Yes. Yeah. Well, like I said, I got to wait on my paycheck. Paycheck is so much fun waiting for when you're a freelancer.
Yeah.
You know that.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah. It's like, when am I going to get paid? When am I going to get paid?
The teaching helps. I got to check every 2 weeks for the teaching. Nice.
Yeah. That's the one thing. The one thing I do miss about teaching is I don't get the steady paycheck. But
and I'm here to tell you, they paid teachers a lot. No.
Well, if they teach teachers, maybe I need to move to Portland then. Speaking of Portland, okay, Image moved to Portland recently, didn't they?
Yeah.
Okay, and then who else is in Portland?
I believe Oni is here. Dark Horse is here. They're all here.
Yeah, it's like okay, I was like,
Oni. I'm not sure if Oni's here. They might be in San Diego actually.
No, Oni's up in Oregon somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they're all here.
Okay.
But I don't see anybody. I'm in my basement. I've never met these people.
Yeah.
I can't get into my local conventions. Like I go waitlisted. Like I can't even get a table at the convention. I can't get an Artist Alley table.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, there's no publishers here, and I can't get in my local ones either.
Yeah. So I had to I had to ask myself, like, what part of the comic book world do I love? I love making books and collaborating with my friends and mailing them out. So it doesn't bother me that I don't get into conventions. That's 3 days I have to stand behind a table.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a long time for like a moody redhead to stay sane. If you ever see me at a convention, I guarantee you I have a box of wine under the table. Look at my teeth. They're red.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Would you like some wine with that?
If you're tabling next to me, I'm getting you day drunk at a convention. Because it is way too much self-serious time. I can't be that serious for that long. I can't. Because you're talking about yourself all day long. I can't talk about myself all day long. I'm not that interesting. I can't take myself that seriously. I take the work seriously. I can't take me seriously.
Yeah. Well, you've lasted a quarter of a day so far.
2 hours.
Yeah.
I also took some Dayquil before we started because I've been fighting a cold. I've been robo-tripping through this whole thing.
That explains it.
It's a cold medicine.
Yep.
But in my lemon water to stave off this scurvy.
Scurvy.
Yeah, Portland is like comic book capital of the world, but none of them come to my basement, so I don't really see them.
Yeah. Well, it's always weird. I mean, it's like here in Columbia, we have probably about 40 different people in the industry in the Columbia area, but do I ever see them? Right. Maybe if somebody does a show appearance or a store appearance, I might see them. Or maybe once the blue moon, we might bounce into each other, in the supermarket or something, and you say, "Hey, we got to hook up and have a drink and draw or something." yeah, okay, we'll do that. And you never see them again.
At the gym I go to, I do see, I do share a trainer with a multi-Eisner winner. And one morning I'm like, hey, is that? And my trainer's like, be cool. And I was like, small world.
Yeah.
I don't want to out them, but yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see them at the gym.
They're in the gym. I mean, you got to be healthy,
Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, wow, you work out here too.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Well, yeah. Well, you're working out because you got to work out all that booze.
The booze, yeah, I'm just sweating booze.
Yeah.
No, that's like a hobby I started probably 4 or 5 years ago. I couldn't sleep through the night. I had really bad back problems. My back was in agony, and my chiropractor was like, you need to work out. You're just in terrible shape. I was like skinny out of shape. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like gelatinously out of shape. So now it's just a 5-day routine. I go, I do my thing. I scowl at everyone. No one talks to me at the gym. Put my headphones on. I listen to podcasts, and I scowl my way through it. But I got a spreadsheet. And I get through it every week.
You're doing better than me, man. You're doing better than me.
Yeah, it's when you're a freelancer, you need regiments. Like you need things that you do to get you out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you sort of spin out a little bit. You spend too much time inside.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, going to the gym 5 days a week, it's a good habit for me.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be that guy, but I am now.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, you came into the show late, John. You have any questions for Jason?
Yeah, John, give it up. Don't be anonymous.
I'll see if he's. We got 2 people watching. I don't know if he's actually there or not.
He's 50% of the audience. Yeah. Don't go away, John.
Nothing is coming to mind at the moment.
Works for me.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on. It's been a fun 2 hours.
Yeah. We're going to have to, when I start bringing in like the roundtable discussions, I'm trying to get some of that set up. I'm going to have to invite you back.
Yeah. I like to spout uninformed opinions as much as anybody else.
So, yeah. There he is finally. It finally just showed up on the Kickstarter, or not a Kickstarter, on the live stream feed.
I'm with you, John. Nothing's coming to my mind either.
Yeah. He probably would have been a little bit more questionable if he had more questions if he'd gotten on earlier on in the show. But like I said, he was busy tonight. So
did he miss the nude segment?
Yeah, he missed
it. You missed the nude segment.
Show him the sucker cover.
Yeah. You missed it. You're gonna have to rewind.
Yeah.
I'm prohibited by law to show it more than once. There was a whole disclaimer at the beginning.
Yep. Part of that COPPA regulations.
Yeah. The whole thing, John.
Yeah, he knows the COPPA regulations. We've talked about it. But yeah. So, I will keep promoting this.
Please.
For Nocturnal Commissions. I'll let people know, and we'll try and get you
up to 500 backers. You promised me 500 backers.
Oh, I didn't promise, but I'm going to try.
You swore a blood oath.
And I'm bleeding.
Yeah. There we go. Hour 1, there was a blood oath.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll whoops, there we go. We're gonna go ahead and refresh that page and see what's going on.
Oh, now you're doing the classic Kickstarter thing where you refresh the page.
Yeah, nothing's happened yet.
Yeah, I know. We're in the dead zone. Everyone's saving it up for the end.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah. Well, last week Ron Randall was my guest for Trucker, and
he's doing great.
Yeah, he's doing amazing.
Yeah.
So, in fact, his just ended it. So, and John says he will definitely watch from the beginning. So
there's gonna be a quiz, John.
Yeah, there will be actually. Yeah, but because he's gonna have to talk to me about birthday stuff soon.
Well, I hope you make it. You'll be 48.
Yeah, I'll be 48.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll be 45 next month if I make it.
Well,
You never know.
You're working out 5 days a week. That should help.
You never know.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, like I said, I wish I was in the shape I was before all this stuff happened with my parents and stuff. I let myself go for, I think, pretty obvious reasons. I mean,
Sure.
But I mean, there was a time where I was MMA ripped, athletic, long time ago. But it's like now I'm diabetic and I gotta fix it.
Hills and valleys, man. I was never in shape until the last couple of years. I look at pictures of me in my 20s and I'm like, oh, get that guy to a fucking gym.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I was lucky. I can't complain. I tricked a beautiful woman into marrying me.
Mm-hmm.
We've been together 10 years. That's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else can come and go. But
yeah,
my wife and I are happy as hell.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so you teach and you do comics, and what else do you do?
I'm also Portland's worst Lyft driver on Friday nights.
Ah.
I make turns. I make fun of them. I'm like, you're going there? Huh.
We're going. What? Yeah, you're going where? You're driving me there.
Yeah.
Who are you to judge?
They're like, we wanted to drink. I was like, me too. And I'll say, hey, do you guys mind taking the SIM card out of your phone before we start this ride? Did you tell anyone where you're going? Put your stuff in the back next to the shovel. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway.
Hey,
thanks for having me on, man.
Yep. Yeah. This has been Jason McNamara, Polite Strangers LLC.
LLC. I think that's just what you have to legally call it. I don't mention the LLC part.
Well,
every company's an LLC. In case someone reads my book and becomes gastrointestinally distressed, they sue the LLC and not me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like if Sucker gives you gas, you sue the LLC, and all my dozens of dollars will be protected.
Yeah, well, that's what we got to do, unfortunately.
Yeah, I started an LLC not to make money, but to lose money spectacularly.
Yeah. So yeah, but already, man, your dog is ready to take them out for a walk.
Yeah, they're going nuts. Something's going on.
Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and let you check that and let you get your dinner because it's
all right, my friend. Hey, this was fun.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, okay, we'll have you next probably next month or April is probably when I'll get the round table started.
If I'm still alive, I'm your Huckleberry.
Alrighty, man.
All right, man. You
All
be
right.
good.
Yep, you too.
How do I do it? How do I turn it off?
Just hit the remove from stream. There you go. And that is our interview with Jason for this evening. Next week, we will not have a special guest, but I will be reviewing all the books I mentioned earlier in the episodes, plus a few more. And we'll probably talk a little bit about some of the a little bit more about the 30% cuts and that we were talking about that Eric Stevenson mentioned from Image, and some of the stuff that comes out from the information from the Portland convention that he's actually missing. Jason decided not to go to. He wasn't invited, as you said. Like you said, didn't get into the RSLE or anything. They're having a Comics Pro event, which is basically the publishers going to and creators going to that show to talk to retailers only. So we'll talk a little about a bit of the news that comes out of that event as well next week. So until then, we will see you on next Thursday. Next Thursday for that. Before we do that, Jason's got one more thing before we go to Jason. If you don't want to buy his Kickstarter stuff and get the $5 event there for all the PDFs. You want the hard copies, you can go to his shop, and I will get that screen shared for you real quick. And that is his shop page, and you can get most of these books at various prices. He's got some of them on discount. But the only thing I think is that he sold out of his Less Than Hero miniseries from 2004 is sold out. But everything else that we discussed is available for sale in hardcovers from his store. And that is at jasonmcnamara.com/shop. Let me go ahead and put that in the thing there. And let me go ahead and put it on there as well on the screen. You can go there. Whoop. There we go. You can get Sucker Volume 1 and 2. They're normally $22. You can get the bundle for $20. You can get his Rattler graphic novel, the image version, for $15. The Cicada for $5. Shorthand, he said that was sold out. He's got it listed as available, but he said it was sold out here on the program. So you can check with them and see. Marsha Confederacy, Volume 1 and 2, normally $30. You can get them for 18 as a 2-pack or 10 each if you want to just get one. The First Moon graphic novel is normally $12. He's got it on sale for $8. The Continuity graphic novel he's got on sale for $8 as well. So you can get all kinds of cool stuff if you don't want to go to the Kickstarter page. Again, the Kickstarter page, I'll go ahead and do what I can here to get that on here as well. There's the Kickstarter. Like I said, it's really a kind of a long name there for his Kickstarter. So it is posted up in our chat. So in fact, it didn't even go through the whole thing. But so go ahead and check it in there, and I will also put it in the description later after the show is over. So until then, I want to thank you all for watching this week. And I need to refresh a page here. And silly thing is doing pages I don't want to do, of course. There we go. If you want to reach me, though, before we leave for the night, you can reach me at Facebook at lewis.brightraven, deviantart.com/brightraven, here at YouTube at Quoth the Raven, Lewis Brightraven, at Gmail at quoththeRavenLBR72@gmail.com, at Yahoo on lewisbrightraven at yahoo.com. So that will be all for this evening, and we'll see you next week.